What's up, guys? We are live, and we happen to got a guy with us that is we consider to be a good friend. We got to fish with him a couple times and enjoyed the time fishing. Uh, we just went fishing not too long ago. The first place we went didn't fare too well for us.
Yeah, it was mostly fishing and not catching.
So we practiced our casting skills, what I like to say.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
But Eric is with iBass 360. Can you explain, Eric, what iBass 360 is?
So iBass 360, from the social media point of view, it's a resource for all things fishing. We focus mostly on bass fishing, but you could really, if you go to our blog, you'll find all kinds of articles about other kinds of fishing, from redfish to specks to striped bass to black bass offshore, flounder, fluke. So we really cover the full spectrum of fishing. But we're also, our information comes from having a whole collective of anglers who are socially minded. And what that means is people who are passionate about fishing, and they use that passion for fishing in many ways to benefit the community. Like these two guys here on either side of me are here today raising money for autism anglers. The, the, the cause is getting tackle, gear, equipment to outfit kids who are on the autism spectrum, and they hold events and get these kids who normally wouldn't have opportunities to fish. They get them outside on the water, on the dock, catching fish. And of course, they want them to be able to take gear home with them. So not only do they take donations of cash, they take donations of rods, reels, lures, whatever you have. And so our founder, Rob Zorn, is a testicular cancer survivor now. I think Rob's going on 12 years uh, free and clear of cancer. And he was also passionate about fishing, but that experience turned him, towards a social mind. And he founded iBass 360, and I joined him. And iBass 360 supports, we support a breast cancer awareness tournament in Texas every year. We support a tournament in Pennsylvania that benefits Lou Gehrig's disease. We, come out and support events like this for autism anglers. We've donated to quite a few different causes in the cancer front, as well as Heart Association, diabetes, because our different anglers have passions for different things. Alyssa Johnson is one of our anglers. She fishes the Lady Bass Anglers Association professional tour, but she works with Gary Yamamoto and Beverly Yamamoto on their ranch in Texas, and they sponsor 3 or 4 organizations like Cast for Kids, like Autism Anglers. There's another group with more, I'll say, terminal kids, and getting them out fishing with their families. And so that's really what iBass 360 is all about, is creating awareness and sponsoring anglers who are trying to give back to the community.
And that's one thing, like, because we've been with iBass, was it 2.5, 3 years, Norman?
I've actually been with iBass 360 now for 4 years, and then
we dragged you into it.
We kind of dragged Colin into it about 3 years ago, when me and Colin first got together and formed a partnership with the Deck Talk. So now we're trying to help represent iBass 360, and they help represent us as well through Deck Talk.
And if you haven't tuned into this podcast, they started it around March, I think it was, February, March. Right in the new year, in the first quarter. And we went to, the three of us went to the Bassmaster Classic together, and that's where they really started gathering their information, doing research on anglers, making connections and contacts in the industry. And then they started the podcast. And if you haven't had a chance to tune into their last Thursday's episode, you can find it on the leading podcast platforms like Buzzsprout or Apple Podcast. But, I was so impressed with the interview. Mike Iconelli was so genuine, and he was open and sharing with the guys. And it's just really an outstanding interview. And if you like Ike, and of course he's a socially minded angler himself with the Ike Foundation, and Mike talks about that and how he got started with it and what it means to him. So, my two friends here really did a great job getting Mike to open up about all aspects of his career and life in fishing.
And if you watched it, you didn't get to see before we hit the live, but we talked to him maybe 5 minutes because we had some technical issues because he was actually camping with his family, so he was having internet connection problems. So, but once we finally got him on, and so the first thing we said as soon as it pops on, was like, "What's up, man?" Just chit-chatting.
Well, I have to say, it didn't look like he was roughing it, though.
No, he wasn't in it.
It looked like he was in a pretty nice cabin.
Yeah, but the first thing I said is, I just want you to know we're not talking forward-facing sonar, and you could almost. He started laughing, and I was like, because I know that's everything. Every podcast you go on, that's what everybody wants to talk about.
That and MLF.
Right, and which we hit both of them, but as soon as we said that to him, it kind of was like, all right. I mean, you could see it on him, like to where he kind of relaxed a little bit. And when we have people on, we want them to be themselves. We want them to be relaxed and just have fun. So,
yeah. And that's one thing I try to do. I know you try to do it with your podcast. I try to do it with the iBass social media. Is I try to bring facts to the table. I bring information to the table because there's something for everybody, and not everything is for everybody. Like I'll bring all the information that I can gather about Bassmaster Elite, and I'll bring all the information I can about the Bass Pro Tour and Toyota Series and the Bassmaster Opens, but I'm not going to opine because I don't think it's my position to opine on what I think about the different things. You can have that debate on social media, and of course it rages, but what I like to do is bring the information, and that's how I view you guys. No matter whether you have an Adrian Avina or a Chris Lane, or you're talking to a rod builder or a guy with a light company or a guy with a bait company, you're bringing information. You're not talking politics. You're bringing information to anglers who are now using social media to get their information, right? I mean, the magazines, when Norm, you and I were growing up, we couldn't wait to get our issues of Bassmaster Magazine, In Fisherman, all those.
Not much of a book reader. I never really got into reading books, but
they had a lot of pictures.
Yeah, exactly. But now, those magazines are struggling. They're looking at alternate platforms to get their information out, and it's all because we as anglers have turned to social media to get our information, whether it's blogs or podcasts or radio shows or Facebook, Instagram, TikTok is even used to get information across.
But we talked a little bit and told everybody a little bit about what iBass was. Let's talk about a little bit about what you do for iBass. You basically are the writer, the editor, the writer. You need to check out some of and you see it from time to time on our Facebooks as well. Some of the stories and some of the stuff you write is just off the charts. But tell
Thank you.
everybody a little bit about what you do for IBAS.
So, it's interesting. I go all the way back to when I, was in college. I really enjoyed writing, and I have always had a passion for writing and communicating. I like writing funny stories, serious stories, and so when I joined IBAS, I saw that, what they were doing for social media, and they were struggling a little bit. And I said, well, I'll be the writer. And so, I help our anglers ghostwrite blogs. Like an angler, he might not like to write, but he's full of information about how to catch a smallmouth bass using finesse techniques, right? So the two of us will put together an article. I'll I'll polish it up, send it back to him. He'll bless it, and we put it out under his name. And I've done that for anglers. I've done resumes, fishing resumes for anglers, so they can get sponsors and things like that. I do all the Facebook posts, which I share on Instagram. So they're both on. Each post that we do is on both platforms. Um, Rob Zorn, my partner, he's dabbled a little bit in TikTok, and he likes to go live from his tackle shop up in Pennsylvania. So Rob's quite a character. I love him to death. So you'll see Rob on that form of social media, the video platforms. We're talking about how to launch a magazine, an online magazine, to help package all of our information. And I think kind of as the final thing is I said, well, fishing's a lot more than just going out and making casts. You know, so a lot of people keep their casts. I was just talking to a couple guys here at the tackle shop. They were telling me how they catch freshwater drum, and smoke it. Delicious, right? A lot of us enjoy
I don't even get them things in the boat.
eating our catch. Walleye is my favorite. But I also like a lot of the saltwater fish that we catch off the coast in New Jersey, which is where Rob lives. Um, so I'll write recipes, and I have a consultant who's my son, who's a professional chef, has a catering company. So yeah, I do all the. If you see it on the content on our Facebook page, ibass360.com, or our Instagram page, ibass360, or our actual website, which has all of our blog articles. And we're going to make some changes in the next month or so to try to make it so that you can watch Deck Talk podcast right from our website. Add that to the list of platforms that where you can watch these guys. So yeah, all that is I'm the social media guy.
So, but with that, I mean, how? Uh, because how long has IBAS been around? Because it's been around a while.
Been around quite some time.
Yeah, so you're talking to an old man here, and I don't remember all the fine details, but we're pretty much ready to celebrate our 10th anniversary. And I know for a fact that I started in 2014, and it was about a year in. So, we're about ready to move into our 10th year, and that's why we want to do some special things in 24, and to kind of celebrate and to kind of up our game on behalf of our partners like you.
You're talking about Rob first formed IBAS because he was a cancer survivor, right?
Right.
And my daughter, which is here today, Leah, she is actually a breast cancer survivor.
That's outstanding.
And now you're talking about you had a family member that was on autism spectrum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, these causes are really close to our heart. This is November, and November is National Testicular Cancer Awareness Month. Yeah. And a lot of guys will grow a mustache, as their way of creating awareness. I've already got the facial hair. So does my friend Colin. Norm, you're maybe not.
He's shaped.
Maybe next November. Maybe next November.
Yeah.
But yeah, my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer trying to remember now. It's probably been 10 years. So she's been clean. So she's doing well. And my youngest granddaughter, who just turned 6, she's on the autism spectrum. And I had her out fishing in the boat this summer, and she caught a mess of perch and bluegill and even a largemouth, which was the envy of her older sister, who may have caught more fish but didn't catch any largemouth. So yeah, that's Remy, my youngest granddaughter, is on the autism spectrum. So I have the ribbon, along with the pink ribbon for breast cancer, as two of the causes that are near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, and that's like just like me. We have 2 grandchildren on the autism spectrum. My one grandchild, which actually lives right here, he actually lives in the same area. He has Asperger's, and then my other grandchild is down in Orlando, but he is autistic. So kind of dear to myself and my wife's heart, autism, you know. And then, of course, my daughter, which is here today, she is actually from this area as well. She's a breast cancer survivor.
I was impressed by Kim, who was on earlier on the podcast with you guys, and is one of the owners of the tackle shop here, Jack's Bait and Tackle, here in Chattanooga. And she's right along the lines of what IBAS values in terms of being a very socially minded member of the fishing community. And I find that so many people in the fishing community have huge hearts for there's the whole veteran community, which is one of the things that Norman and I initially hooked up on, is that both of us support organizations that take veterans, especially those who are suffering from post-traumatic stress syndrome. And of course, today is Veterans Day. So shout out to all of our veterans and all those who served and all those who are suffering from PTSD. Organizations like Woods and Water. There's another organization called Fishing Buddies for Vets. These organizations get guys out on the water where they can just relax and be themselves and let all that stress of everyday life kind of melt away for a little bit.
Well, because the water, like what it does to us. I mean, we talked about, Norman and I have. I mean, it's therapy for us, and it does
Absolutely.
the same thing for them. If it is PTSD or autism or any kind of like needs or whatever that you need, being out on the water.
Get out on the water and just catch some peace. Whether you catch fish or not, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Especially
if you're on Lake X. It's just peaceful, and the fact that Colin and I caught no fish and only Norman caught fish, it didn't really matter.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But get out on the water and catch some peace. And that's
absolutely.
Even for myself and Colin, when we get out there, whether we have cameras going, whether we're just out having a good time, goofing off, we're trying to catch some peace, catch some relaxation, stress relief.
Absolutely.
So, but Eric, we do want to thank you for coming on, and we do need to set up another time to get you out this way, and maybe go catch some crappie or do something.
Yeah, I was thinking about that crappie tournament. I could anchor the back of somebody's boat. Just saying. If one of you guys needs a rider in the back,
we can do that.
I can eat crappie with the best of us.
We can do that.
So, but we want to thank you for making that drive out there. You probably had one of the longest drives to get here.
You're not right around the corner. You had to drive.
Well, under normal circumstances, I work, even though I'm from Pennsylvania and I spend time with my family up there. I work in Valley Head, Alabama, so it normally would only be about 55 minutes. But I'm telling you, Interstate 24 through Chattanooga has got to be one of the worst interstates anywhere in terms of backups. And when it stops dead. And so they were detouring traffic off the interstate, and I ended up going up over Lookout Mountain, down Lookout Mountain, around. But but I got here. I actually went by the place where Norm launches his boat when we fish in Nickajack, and I thought, I had to fight my truck from turning in. It was thinking it was going fishing.
Yep. So we're gonna get off here, and thank you, brother, for getting on here with us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for showing up. I mean,
appreciate everything you do too.
All right. Last word. Live the passion, and watch Deck Talk on Thursday nights, 6 o'clock Eastern.
That's how we close out everything. Is live the passion, guys. But guys,
thanks, guys.